I was more than a tulip or a daisy, destined to grow no matter how many times they buried me. I was destined to grow no matter how many times they poisoned my soil and poured concrete over me. If you haven't checked out my fundraiser that I put out on Everything College, I highly encourage you, after you watch this video, to go check it out because it's inspirational and it's really amazing. Head over right now to my YouTube and subscribe. This is officially the season finale. Give it a huge like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, Everything College. Y'all not gonna want to miss this one. This is a great interview with these young, intelligent, brilliant students as we talk about their first year at the University of Michigan. It's the finale. Oh yeah, it's the finale. But don't forget to go check out all of these dope students' interviews on Everything College because they got so many tips and tricks for you. And if you just want to know and learn more about your favorite university or university you're thinking about, then you're going to want to be subscribed to this YouTube channel. Let's get straight into the video. Welcome back to Everything College. I'm your host, Christina Parker, supporting your college navigation while minimizing debt. And so in today's episode, we have two special guests. If you haven't seen, we're all ripping our U of M merch. So I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves, and we'll go ahead and start with Flynn.
I'm happy to go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Flynn Alexander. I use the pronouns they and he. I am a non-traditional student. I went to a community college and then transferred to Portland State. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. And then now I'm here in the University of Michigan getting my master's degree in social work. My previous background was in English, so not social work. And currently I reside in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I'm originally from the Pacific Northwest. And I am currently a research assistant for Dr. Shanna Gattari, working on a photo voice project with the transgender community on reproductive health and sexual health. So that's really exciting. I'm excited about that project. Let's see, and I've worked in higher education for the last 10 years. So I'm not your traditional fresh out of undergrad student. I'm 32 years old. I'm a worker. So I've been on the field for the last 10 years.
Thank you.
Yes. My turn.
Your turn.
So hello everyone, my name is Alex Wilson. That's my last name. I got my degree in social work. So I got my bachelor's degree in social work. I went to Sac State, and right now I'm getting my master's degree in social work at the University of Michigan. Right now I'm in California, Moreno Valley, California. If you know what it is, it's in the IE, shout out. Either way, the United States, that's where I'm from as well. My employment, right now, I just got a new job. I'm working at Time for Change Foundation, and I am a peer and housing navigator. So I'm helping women who are recently out of incarceration and getting them connected to housing so that way they can find some stability. I have so many different experiences doing so many different things, but my last 7 years, I've been working in and out of community organizations and fields. I've been working with youth. Right now, I'm working with women. Yes. I have worked in mental health, for-profit, nonprofit. I have literally done everything from event planning, marketing, anything in there. So yes, all in there. I love what I do. And yeah, I love social work. So I'm here.
Thank you too. If for the audience that out there, if you're confused, what are we going to be doing our interview on today? Well, we're going to be talking about our experiences at the University of Michigan, and I'm going to be interviewing these lovely, well-rounded folk on their experiences, and I definitely got to meet them during so many different classes and different interactions. So we used to have so many conversations behind the scene, and I'm like, yo, we should definitely do this on camera. So I'm excited to interview the two of you all. So for my first question, and we could start off with Alex, what made you pick U of M?
So that's a really good question, because I was actually in between a whole bunch of different schools for so many different reasons. But I picked U of M specifically for the community change pathway. I was able to do things that were outside of just interpersonal relationships and trying to be able to get all of that therapy and counseling and stuff. I am good at it, but I'm not really good at it, if that makes sense. I really don't really I care, but I care more about like how organizations are implementing these things. And I felt like a lot of social work programs throughout the United States just don't cover what U of M was covering. And so, yeah, that's the reason why I chose U of M. Yeah.
Thank you for that. What about you, Flynn? Why did you choose U of M?
It's interesting that you say that, Alex, about the community change piece, because that's actually why I chose U of M as well. I had I had a spreadsheet of all these different grad schools and programs and all the different things that I wanted in the program. And I wanted like macro practice, but I also wanted a school that was really with really quality micro practice, because I'm doing both. So, and I wanted the flexibility to be able to do both. And that's something that the University of Michigan's program does offer. Though it is very heavily a research institution, which I'm learning as a research assistant now. I didn't come to the school for that. I didn't realize that that was what I was going to get myself into. Not surprised that that's the path I've taken, though. So here we are. It's kind of cool though, because when you're trying to pick a school, like having an educational background and having helped a lot of students pick the schools they wanted to go to, being on the other end of that was really a challenge for me with grad school. And they say that the schools are number one, number two ranked. Don't trust the rankings. Like that would be my advice to anyone picking a school, like, because that's just what you're gonna get. Like it's not necessarily about the ranking, right? Like find the program that is gonna serve the needs that you have for yourself.
Definitely. Well said. Thank you. So how was your first year of going to school in a pandemic, or as many people like to joke, during a Panda Express? And anyone can answer the question first.
I'll go. Yeah. My first year during this pandemic was a lot. First of all, my first semester, I was working full time and going to school full time. And I feel like, this is my own personal opinion, but I feel like U of M really should advertise like your first year, most intense year, or your first most intense semester. And then the next semester with the internship, it kind of sets you up. I really feel like they should really do that, because although you don't have that internship, it stills a lot with all of the classes that are required for you to take. So I was in a rude awakening, and then having to like figure out Zoom as well was a lot. And so, yeah, my first semester was terrible. And then I got COVID, which was fun. So I started my next semester off right after I got back to work and I had to quit. And I started my semester off literally like right tail on the end of COVID right there. Yeah, my job kind of like screwed me over, told me that I could go part-time when I couldn't go part-time. It was a hot mess either way, but I had COVID and then I had to figure out what I was going to do at work. And then I had school that started and then I was moving. So it was a lot that was happening in those 2 semesters. Hopefully next year is better. But yeah, during the pandemic, it was constant movement for me. I didn't really have a lot of isolation from the community. I was constantly in the community all the time. But last semester, I was home all the time, and I was okay with that. I can rest, So yeah, that's me.
Thank you for sharing that. What about you, Flynn?
Well, I moved to Michigan because the university was saying all hybrid, right? So I'm from Portland, Oregon. And so I hightailed it out here. Like I got in August 1st. And so classes started August 31st. In a month, I got all my shit packed and moved my ass out here, found a place to live in Ypsilanti because Ann Arbor's too expensive. And then I went to 3 classes in person before they shut it all down, right? Or not even two in person, with like a total of 5 students in the class at a time. So it was really odd to be on like the majority of the class on a Zoom session and then 5 of you in a classroom. Like that was fascinating. So I will say this, like on the one hand, it was really tough. I also was working full time at the beginning, but then made the decision to take out loans and not work because this program is it's that intense, and I am burnt out. So I just made that financial decision. Recognizing not everybody has that, but I will say this, like, this is a learning experience. It's an odd one, but being in school during a pandemic offers a lot of weird opportunities for us to like adapt and learn in challenged environments. So I'm trying to look on the bright side of it, even though it's been tough. Yeah.
Definitely. And that, I think that brings me into the perfect segue into the question of like, how do you all feel like U of M handled the pandemic? And do you feel like they centered students? Yeah, how do y'all feel about that?
Go ahead, Flynn.
This is a tough question. Because I also like, I don't want to be too hard on U of M, but I also really want to rip U of M apart. Because of just it's clear that they're juggling a lot of really hard things here, but it doesn't feel student-centered. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. And I've worked in an institution that used that student-centered term all the time, right? And I push back against what they think is student-centered versus what students think is student-centered. And I think that's the biggest problem, is that faculty and staff all have different views of what is student-centered, and students have their own interpretation of that. And faculty and staff are not listening. Faculty listen more than staff do. And so I don't feel heard. I don't think the vast majority of my peers feel heard. And I think that's important, is that's what feels dismissive, is we don't feel heard. And I personally feel kind of gaslit by the administration. It's like, oh, it's okay. We're all struggling. Okay.
So to answer that question, I'm going to say, I feel Flynn on not being too hard on like everybody, as like the whole world kind of blew up when the pandemic happened, right? Like people were literally buying toilet paper for 3 years. And like, so like, it was a lot that was happening. Everybody is stressed out. They literally had to figure out a semester that they had to do all online. I get it. I think that where I have an issue is by the time that I got here, things should have been a little bit sussed out, right? By the time it hit fall, you have already gone through a whole semester in which you have tested the pros, the cons, you switch things around, you get new databases, you get things like that. But I feel like U of M really didn't worry about that. And I think that that's where it kind of goes down to student-centered, because it's kind of like, well, it kind of works for faculty. And then, I mean, some it works over here, but like, who's actually making sure that everybody is trained in Zoom? Who's making sure that, students are okay with this, that, classes are or are not in session, like things like that. I don't think that like U of M is thinking about the students at all. I really feel like it might have to do with a lot of money, like, how many seats can we fill and how many people can we get in? And how many times have like students how many times have students said this entire year that we're not being heard? Like, I totally feel you, Flynn. Like, there have been strikes after emails, like, oh my God, those email chains. Even that's not student-centered. Like, are you serious? Yeah. Like, hundreds upon hundreds of emails, everybody replying to the same thing. It's like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to, like, be in, your little mix. And it's not even just that, but it's just like, we are all going to school. We are all trying to learn. We're all trying to be in an environment where we're grasping and gathering all this knowledge. And we're not trying to figure it out for faculty and staff. We're not trying to figure it out for other students as well. Like, we're learning and we're figuring it out. But at the same time, it's not student-centered. And I think this goes back to, I have like a really big, like a little, I don't know, there's a word there, but you know what I'm trying to say. I have a bone to pick with U of M about this sorry, can I curse? I don't know if I can curse. Can I curse?
I might beep it out, but you can curse.
Okay. No, I'm not going to curse. I don't want to do that because, it's so much. But I really feel like we should have had a spring break. I think that if we're going to talk about student-centered, especially during this pandemic, when everybody and their mama is stressed out, people are not replying back to emails by this point. Like, the school has just given up, and you take away the most restful time of the spring semester, like spring break. We could have had a break, and you weren't really thinking about us as students and how much we're like grasping and knowing and all of this other things. You're not worried about what we are going through at that time. Like I said, like I was going through all of those things and still showing up to class every single day, which I can't say for some of my teachers. And like, I'm doing all of this and I deserve a break. Teachers deserve a break. Everybody deserves a break. And you didn't give that to us because you don't really care. And again, it goes back to money. Everything goes back to money.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah. I think that you both brought up great points. U of M definitely was not student centered, and I think that even outside of what y'all said, there's so many different points that so many other students can talk about where U of M was not student centered, and that you brought up a great point, Alex, around spring break, right? Not allowing students to have that natural break when they entered into a pandemic and everyone is stressed and everyone's going through things, and thinking more so around whatever thoughts that U of M had instead of consulting with students to see if, hey, what do you need and things of that nature. So I thank you both for your points.
Well, and you brought up a point just now, Christina, in that like spring break, that was the time when this whole thing started. Like there was no acknowledgement of that. This is a traumatic experience, and there was no acknowledgement of the fact that like we are all like entering into that traumatic. Like I don't know about y'all, but I had some like grief shit happening during that period. Like stuff coming up about last year and going into this, like I think we underestimate the full impact of what we're going through right now.
Definitely.
That was a great example of underestimating it.
Definitely. For viewers out there, please let us know if you would like me to host a panel with other students to talk about their experience during going to school during the pandemic, because I think that a lot of students may have from different institutions have points to bring up around this subject. So my next question to y'all is, did you feel that the college became more or less accessible during this pandemic? And can you explain why? And we'll go ahead and start with Flynn.
Yeah, this is a great question, because I think the immediate assumption when we hear something like accessibility is, oh, in a pandemic, we have video and Zoom, so that makes it more accessible. But like, I have teachers that didn't use captions. I have, not every class was recorded. There were a lot of different things that didn't feel accessible. On the one hand, if you have a faculty, it's kind of like in person in a sense, right? If the faculty person leading the class knows what they're doing, then it's more accessible. If they don't, it's less accessible. And that's, unfortunately, it feels like they weren't really trained or the faculty weren't really supported in making the online learning more accessible to folks. Yeah, and the campus itself, obviously not, and humans not. I still haven't heard from my field person, and I sent her an email 2 weeks ago with my goal statement. So like, to update for fall. Sure, I don't have to worry about till fall, but I kind of like, it'd be nice to at least hear from her. It's just ridiculous how, and there's another email chain on the email that like students are just going at each other and no one is intercepting it. Like it's just interesting to think about accessibility and support in the pandemic, because I don't feel that.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I think that some people may assume because school has went virtual, right, that it is more accessible to people. But if the teacher isn't trained on how to make sure that is accessible, right? We already know there's issues with technology, but if there's not captions and all these things that could add accessibility for folks, right, then it kind of defeats the purpose in a sense. But yeah, Alex, how do you feel?
I feel that I feel exactly how Flynn feels on that. I had like so much trouble with communication. And I feel like the fact that everybody's so quick, especially like faculty staff, like are so quick to answer those emails that are like, seemingly like they're attacking them or seemingly celebrating somebody retiring and a death. There was a death this semester. Rest in peace. But like so quick to like respond to all of those emails. But like when we're emailing them, it's like about some real shit, about some like real important shit. It's like nothing. And I think communication is like decreasing that accessibility. I had no idea that I had anyone other than that I had more than one field faculty. I had no idea that we had to do a site visit. I had no idea that things were due when they were supposed to be due because of the fact that whoever my field instructor was just not in communication. Come to find out, he retired. They brought him back. He was like somebody that was supposed to be there, but he really didn't care because he knew he was getting ready to come out because old girl was coming back from maternity leave. Like stuff like that was happening. And it's just like, so all of this. But now we're talking about my assignments, and now you're hitting me up, throwing me so many emails. He sent like such a passive aggressive email to all of these students, like, y'all should know better, you should know. And it's like, well, if you don't have any communication with us, then how are we really supposed to know, what we're supposed to be doing? If there's assignments, then we need to know the assignment. And so I think that communication around the board was like, just nah. I had so many problems with field. And like, even my placement was kind of weird as well. Like, here I am talking about, I want to do macro work. I want to learn more about grant writing and all of this stuff. And they put me in an IP, like, and now I'm doing like therapy. And it's like, what? I mean, I didn't say this. That's not what I wanted. Or when I write my goal statement and my field instructor, or whoever reads it, said, well, I don't really know what you're talking about here. I don't know exactly what you want to do. And it's like, well, why don't you know? You know what I mean? Things like that. And like, even that, like, I got an email from her literally a week before school was getting ready to end about interviewing to a place, and like, they're getting ready to start orientation hella soon. And like, they have all of this stuff. And like, they basically pushed me in there, that's not okay. It's not okay. And I think that because of all those different communication issues, us as students, again, are not being heard. And yet we're fighting with each other, like Flynn said, and we're trying to fight faculty, and faculty's like, blase, it doesn't even matter. I'm not going to reply to this anyways. I'm going to reply to all the fun stuff, and it's frustrating because we actually need to graduate. We actually need to get things done, and we actually want to learn. And I don't think that anybody is kind of connecting those pieces at all.
It feels kind of like the veil has been lifted, right? Like, I already knew that, like, I was just here for the piece of paper, like, logically, but like, the veil is lifted. They don't care anymore. That we know that. Oh yeah, okay. The pandemic has really highlighted that for me too.
Yeah, and for students that are out there, some may be potentially about to go to U of M, or some of you all may be attending U of M, right? And this conversation is really around the experiences of those that have been going to school in the pandemic and uplifting some of those issues. And it's sad that me as a student at U of M is interviewing other students about the issues, and U of M isn't doing their own personal due diligence to get that feedback to better correct themselves in the future. So if anyone from U of M is watching this, I really do hope that you take these voices into consideration.
Well, they're doing tons of surveys, but we don't know what they do with the surveys.
Exactly.
Right? Like, there's no transparency around the process, and I'm not going to fill out no more surveys for them, like, until they start telling me okay, so what are we doing with this information you're collecting?
Where does it go, and what benefit was it collected for, right?
Exactly.
It is not over, y'all. There is a part 2 to this amazing, dope interview. Y'all not going to want to miss out on it. It's going to drop on this Friday, the 30th, to end our final season of What the Grad School / Undergrad. Make sure you're subscribed. I had the pleasure of collaborating with the talented Casey Sugarfix to bring y'all the I Can box. Make sure you go head over to their Instagram linked in my description below to not only see this box, but the reveal of the second box that we have created. But drum roll, please. The I Can box. Because anyone can do anything that they put their mind to. If you're interested in purchasing this, head over to KC Sugars or to Everything College or for Essential Students in order to learn more about how you can purchase the delicious chocolate-covered everything. Follow me on all my social medias to learn more about ways you can donate. See you soon.